Hello Army. Welcome back to our channel. And if this is your very first time here, hit that subscribe button right now and ring that notification bell so you never miss the hottest BTS content every single day. Okay, guys, today we are talking about something that made ARMY all around the world. In the US, the UK, Indonesia, Brazil, the Philippines, and everywhere in between, cry at the exact same moment. And I mean actually cry. Not dramatic crying. Not exaggerating. Real. Tears. Because today we are talking about one person who has long been recognized by K-pop industry experts, Korean media, and of course millions of ARMY worldwide as the idol who loves his fans the most. Who else could it be but Park Jimin? Yes, Jimin of BTS. The baby machi from Busan whose smile can literally make the whole world pause for a second. And in this video, we are going to break it all down, from the real awards he received in Seoul to the moments of love for ARMY that honestly make anyone watching feel chills and get completely emotional. So grab your tissues. Seriously, this is not an empty warning. Let's start with the hard facts first. On June 21st, 2025, on the prestigious stage of the 34th Seoul Music Awards, one of the most historic music award shows in South Korea since 1990, the name Park Jimin shone brighter than ever. Jimin took home the Hallyu Special Award, a recognition that specifically honors an artist's extraordinary contribution to spreading Korean culture, what we know as the Hallyu wave, across every corner of the world. And this is not just any award. The Hallyu Special Award goes to artists who are not simply popular in Korea, but who have truly become a cultural bridge. People who made the world fall in love with Korea through music, art, and the way they connect with the world around them. Think about it. That same night, RM, the leader of BTS, the mind behind some of the deepest lyrics in K-pop, won in the R&B/hip-hop category. But so much of the international media spotlight fell on Jimin and his Hallyu Special Award. Why? Because this award is not just about streaming numbers or chart positions. It is about cultural impact. It is about how one human being named Park Jimin managed to touch the hearts of millions of people in countries that do not even speak Korean. And if we are being completely honest with ourselves, no one deserves that award more than him. But wait, because the Seoul Music Awards is not the only place where Jimin's name was honored in 2025. At the iHeartRadio Music Awards 2025, his solo track, Who, which had already stayed on the Billboard Global Excl. US chart for 67 weeks, setting a record for any Asian solo artist. One K-pop song of the year. 67 weeks, guys. 67 weeks. That is almost a year and a half. Imagine a song that keeps living, keeps being heard, keeps being loved for that long. And it was not because of a massive promotional machine. It was because of ARMY who loved Jimin, and Jimin who makes music that is truly worth loving. But if we are talking about Jimin as the ultimate fan lover, we cannot only talk about trophies and awards. Because what makes Jimin truly different is what he does off the stage. In the quiet moments. In the middle of the night. In an empty recording studio. Do you remember when Jimin, right after completing his mandatory military service on June 11th, 2025, immediately opened Weverse and wrote a message that made all of ARMY stop breathing? It was not a promotional message, not an album announcement, not an ad. It was just Jimin, speaking honestly from his heart. In his post, Jimin wrote, and this has been translated by ARMY all over the world. Sometimes, when I don't see you for a while, I end up really missing you. But honestly, even I feel distant from you at times. And when that happens, I find myself saying I miss you more often. But the more I say it, the less weight it seems to carry, so I hold back. Jimin held back from saying I miss you because he was afraid those words would lose their meaning. Let that sink in for a moment. In a world full of mass-produced content, where idols are trained to always smile and always say sweet things, Jimin chose honesty. He chose to say that he was afraid. Afraid that his I miss you would feel hollow. And the next part? Jimin wrote, saying I love you may seem small, but in the end, it leads me to the word respect. That is why I respect and love you. Love that leads to respect. An idol who respects his fans. How many of us have ever experienced a moment like that, where someone we admire turns around and says they respect us? That is Jimin. And this was not a one-time thing. This was not a line prepared by a PR team. This is a pattern. This is character. This is who Park Jimin actually is. Now let's talk about a journey that not everyone fully knows. December 2023. Jimin entered mandatory military service alongside Jungkook in South Korea's 5th Infantry Division. Army cried. The world felt a little quieter. But Jimin, even in the moments furthest from the cameras, remained completely himself. He completed basic training in 5 weeks, finishing with the top ranking as the best trainee in his unit. He received recognition directly from the division commander. He was promoted early to Special Class Warrior because of his outstanding performance. Even inside military barracks, Jimin could not help but be the best. And here is one thing that not many people know. Before fully entering military service, Jimin released Closer Than This in 2023, a special gift for Army. Not for promotion, not for the charts, purely as a way of saying, I'm leaving, but I'm not really leaving. The lyrics of that song feel like a long, warm hug. Like someone saying goodbye, while making sure you know that their leaving does not change anything about how much they love you. And then June 11th, 2025 arrived. Jimin walked out of military service. And the very first thing he did afterward? Not heading straight to a celebration party. Not going to a studio for selfies. He went to Weverse. He wrote for Army. Because that is his priority. Always. Now we need to talk about something even bigger. The Hallyu Special Award that Jimin received is not just about music. It is about how one person can become a representation of an entire nation without ever forcing it. Jimin was the first solo K-pop artist to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 with Like Crazy back in 2023. He is the Asian artist whose song stayed the longest on the Billboard global charts. Spotify Rap 2025 placed him as the most streamed artist and album in Korea. But beyond all those numbers, what truly makes Jimin the face of Hallyu is the way he treats fans from every country as equals. At Paris Fashion Week 2026, Jimin attended Jonathan Anderson's debut collection for Dior, and what went viral was not only his stunning appearance. What went viral was how he still took time for fans, how he still radiated warmth in an environment that is famously cold and exclusive. At the iHeartRadio Music Awards 2025, when accepting his award, Jimin did not forget to mention Army. Not as an obligation, not from a script, but because for him, the award means nothing without the people who supported him to get there. And we are talking about a truly extraordinary fan base. Army is a global community that, without any official coordination, can move charts, spread messages, raise money for disaster relief, and genuinely look out for one another. And all of that starts from the example set by their idol. If you think Jimin only loves his Army, you do not fully know Park Jimin yet. This man is a quiet philanthropist. Not quiet for the sake of image, but quiet because he never wants his kindness to feel like a performance. When floods devastated Korea in 2022, Jimin donated 100 million won. For an elderly housing project in Busan, his hometown, he donated 30 million won. And in March 2025, even while still serving in the military, a donation of 100 million won was recorded for the firefighters of Gyeongbuk who were battling a massive forest fire. The Community Chest of Korea, the most trusted charitable organization in South Korea, officially recognized Jimin as one of their honored regular donors. And here is the remarkable thing. Not a single one of these donations was announced by Jimin's own team. Every single one was revealed because the receiving organizations confirmed it themselves. That is the difference between genuine goodness and goodness for public image. Jimin does not need you to know he did something good. He just does good. And if that is not the definition of someone who truly loves people, not just his fans, but humanity, then what is? But guys, Jimin's story is far from over. In fact, it is only the beginning of the most epic chapter of his life. July 2025, BTS finally reunited. All 7 members, complete, together again. Jimin, Jungkook, RM, V, jhope, Jin, Suga, gathered in Los Angeles for a songwriting camp. RM himself said it. This will be our first album in 6 years. We are going to create something incredible. And that album? Scheduled for release in spring 2026, with a world tour to follow. Which means Army everywhere in the world has a real chance to see the complete BTS on stage again. The governor of Jakarta, and this is not a rumor, this is a fact, mentioned that he had discussed the possibility of a BTS performance in Jakarta toward the end of 2026. Let's hope it becomes a reality. And in the middle of all these massive preparations, Jimin, now 30 years old, more mature, deeper, more Jimin than ever, has not missed a single moment to stay connected with ARMY. On ARMY's founding anniversary on July 9th, 2025, while V posted a photo and Jhope shared emotional concert moments, Jimin chose to share a little piece of his real self, a glimpse of him in the recording studio, with a simple message. Today is ARMY's birthday. Happy birthday. I love you. I'll work hard on the album and come back soon. No over-the-top filter. No lavish production. Just Jimin and his words. So why is ARMY crying? Not from sadness, but because of a feeling that most people rarely get to experience. The feeling that someone you love truly loves you back. Sincerely, consistently, without any agenda. We live in a world that often makes us feel small, feel like we are not enough, feel alone. And then someone like Jimin comes along, through his music, through his words, through his actions, and keeps saying, "You matter. You are seen. You are loved." That is why, like crazy, made it to #1. Not because of a machine, but because every single ARMY who listened to it felt that the song was speaking directly to them. That is why, who stayed on the global chart for 67 weeks. Because that song lives inside people, not just in their speakers. And that is why, when Jimin received the Hallyu Special Award at the 34th Seoul Music Awards, ARMY around the world cried. Because they knew that award was not just for Jimin. It was also for them. For every night they spent supporting him. For every long streaming session. For every prayer sent his way. Jimin always says, his success is ARMY's success. And for once, the world officially acknowledged that. Amazing ARMY. Park Jimin may never officially receive a trophy that says Best Fan Lover. But he does not need one. Because every action he takes, every word he writes on waivers in the middle of the night, every donation he quietly makes, every song he creates with raw honesty, all of that is real proof worth so much more than any trophy in the world. Seoul has recognized it. The world has recognized it. And we, ARMY, have known it all along. Congratulations, Jimin. For every award you've earned, for every person whose heart you've touched, and for being living proof that sincerity still exists in an industry that so often prioritizes everything but that. If this video moved you, entertained you, or made you feel like you know Jimin a little better, please hit that like button. That is the easiest way to support this channel and make sure content like this keeps coming for all of you. And don't forget, subscribe if you haven't yet, turn on notifications bell, and share this video with every ARMY you know. Because stories like this deserve to be heard by everyone. See you in the next video. Stay purple, ARMY Purple Heart. I purple you. Purple heart, purple heart, purple heart.